Okay, April 26th, 2021. And I got the transom glued up. Haven't bolted it, there's just the glue and several screws in holding it in there for right now, but it looks pretty good. I was concerned that it was going to be sitting on there square and whatnot. Of course, the knee determines that as much as anything, and evidently I got that knee pretty square because I've been measuring and doing alignments and whatnot on the frames, you know, in relation to the keel and into a squared frame here in the more in the center of the boat. And they came out within 1/8 of an inch. The two ends of these frames came to within 1/8 of an inch of each other. So that's about as close as you're going to be able to get, I think. And they're also right spot on 15 degrees angle on that transom. I mean, both wings here, you know, are at 15 degrees, that side and this side. So I was hoping I wouldn't have a funny out of square looking stern and transom, and it came out just spot on. So now there are a few discrepancies between these frames coming back here. What I did was I measured the distances between the frames, plus or minus whatever they were, from being exactly 24 inches on center, and I wrote them down for each station on each side. And then I totaled it up to see how close they were, and they were relatively close to each other, as you'd expect. And I did just a little bit of tweaking back here to square up anyone that was, you know, out of tilt just a little bit, because I really didn't square these up any more than just using a square on against the keel. And they didn't need much, but I gave a couple of them just a little bit of tweaking. And then I put some more strapping boards, just kind of screwed on there to hold things in place. We'll need some inside and outside, and then as you're doing outside, the inside ones will have to get, you know, shored up even more as you take the outside ones off, and vice versa. But well, actually the inside ones for the most part can probably stay. But anyway, there's going to be a lot of fairing that has to be done on the frames. Obviously we knew that. There's a couple places where they're a little shallow, and they may need to have strips glued in there, which I don't know, isn't going to be that big a deal. I mean, it's fussy, time consuming work, but I already did that back here. As this turned out, you know, I was talking about my measurement here, where to measure from. If the plans didn't specify you're supposed to measure from here or from here, well, evidently you were supposed to measure from here, from this point rather than this point, because I was that 3/4 of an inch off. Here's the bearding line, here's the rabbit line down here, and here's the bearding line. And see, it would have come all the way up there, you know, if I'd cut that, because it has to be at an angle. Anyway, so I cut this doubled up strip to the correct angle in my table saw, and then I glued it in there, and that's going to work just fine. And now my bearding line will come out right where it's supposed to, and then of course the planks will run down here this way. I think I've been giving some thought to that, planking it. You know, I was planning on using 2x4s mostly for planking, because you can get a little edge set in a 2x4. You know, if there's some curvature, you can bend and set them on top of each other. And I was thinking about gluing them together, the edges together, to make kind of a harmonic hull, and, you know, make it even stronger. You know, I was doing some reading in one of the books that I've gotten, David Gare's book, and he was talking about that, how strip planking was really his favorite for modern wood boats. And that's kind of what I was thinking about doing anyway, only they're talking about using strips that are only like an inch, you know, they're square, 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. So it'd be real easy to bend on there, and then you glue them all together. You know, as the next one goes on, it gets glued to the one above or below it. and it gives you an incredibly strong hull that way. And that's what I was thinking about doing with the 2x4s, but I don't know, maybe I should rip those 2x4s down the middle and make it even easier on myself. I don't know. I don't know if it would make a whole lot of difference or not. But I don't know if he was talking about coating them in 2 or 3 coats of epoxy before you even put them on. Boy, I don't know about that. You start doing that, and really this epoxy, it blushes, and you gotta wash it off, and you really, if it's cured, then you really have to do a little sanding on it to get it roughen the surface to give the epoxy a bite. I honestly think you'd be better off, you know, just gluing the raw wood together, and then if you want to coat everything anyway, and everything's going to get coated afterwards anyway. Well, exterior will, because the plywood will get epoxied onto the surface of the planking, strip planking or carvel planking, whatever we go with. But anyway, so I haven't been getting just a whole lot of anything major accomplished. Of course, I'm still waiting for the fuel tanks, but anyway, I was happy with the way this transom turned out. That's good news that it's all square and ready to go. There's a fat cat ready to have kittens. Just we need more cats. But I replaced a few bolts here. Some of these bolts, this very first frame that I put in, they were too low. They were gonna interfere with trimming these off to the proper angle. So I've been taking the bolts off, gluing some dowels in there. See, here's 2 more over here too that I did. And later on I got smarter, moved the bolts up a little bit. But yeah, so I was worried about this transom, and it's looking all right. So that's a good thing. Next thing I'm going to be up to, I guess, while I'm waiting for the fuel tanks, is going to be getting this stem timber in place. I need to get this cut out and somehow hoist it up there. So we'll see how that goes, but I guess that's the last really big job I've got until I get the fuel tanks and get the fuel tanks put in. I was thinking about gluing my my neoprene rubber onto these 2x6s here, but I don't know if I really need to do that just yet. It's entirely possible the tanks may need a little shimming, and then, you know, if they need any shimming, it shouldn't be much, and I could probably just cut some more of that neoprene and double up a layer of that 1/4 inch neoprene to shim anything that might need shimmed. And I still need to talk to Beta Marine about an engine. I should do that this week too. See what the time frame on those are and get some other specifications, recommendations from them. I don't think the John Deere is gonna work. I just really don't want that electronic fuel injection. So progress is being made slowly but surely. We're getting there.